Hi, and welcome to an editing session with the Diatribe. I'm Gleason. I'm here with my friends Kyd Kane and Sprout. I'm going to be reading a draft of my poem to get some feedback from these folks on the poem so I can revise it and make it better. So what we usually do in editing sessions is when we're listening to a poem, we want to listen for things that we like about the poem. So please tell me the things that you like about it, make me feel a little bit good. But then dive into things that you think I can do to make this poem better. And then I'll take notes on those things. I'll try not to answer or respond in the moment and just take in. If I have questions at the end, I might ask you questions about your feedback. And then I'm going to write a draft, and hopefully that draft will just be up at the next level, and hopefully you all will be able to give each other feedback in a similar manner. So this is my poem. This is a draft of my poem. It's called Trans Euphoria. Trans euphoria to me is walking into the gas station in my new small town, head held high, shoulders back, nothing to fear, as if this confidence, as if I have this love for self that I fought so hard for, that it will protect me from the hatred of anyone else. It is walking into any place, anywhere, head held high, shoulders back, ready to devour whatever the universe has to offer, ready to show the world who I am, expecting to be accepted, but also ready to fight if needed, fists balled in denim jacket pockets. Non-binary euphoria looks like the embodiment of light and love, of otherness and sameness, of illusion and truth, and everything in between. Non-binary euphoria is reclaiming the holiness of existing in the celestial in-between, in the Big Bang spectral spectrum, the tandem tension suspension of the theory of relativity. When I think about trans euphoria, I think about standing in front of the full-length mirror in my parents' bedroom as a child, my father's church suit drooping off my shoulders and pooling around my feet. I think about every time a server or retail worker or stranger called me young man or sir. I think about the look on my mother's face every time a server or retail worker or stranger called me young man or sir, how she would politely correct them, and they would apologize to my small and beaming and apparently boyish face. I think about every time my partner calls me handsome, every time a child stares up at me in awe. When I say I love being non-binary, I mean I love being in the middle like a wrench thrown in the gears of the gender construct machine. I love being in the middle like a finger raised against the status quo, like my existence is an act of defiance. Like if you do a double take when I walk into your gendered bathroom, your second look will catch a smile spreading on my beaming and boyish face. Like I dare you to tell me I don't belong here or anywhere. Like every space I stand in is a space I have created. Like there is space between every atom. You can ignore it, deny it, exclude it, and you can call that space in between nothing, but you couldn't be more wrong.
Ooh.
I got chills. I got chills.
Thank you.
That poem is great. Thank you.
Yeah, that was so good. And also as a non-binary person, I felt really seen in this piece. So thank you for that, for writing it. Some things that I took away from this poem was the way that you went from like way out here in space to the very small, and how you strung those things together was really cool, and I think really does embody what it's like to be non-binary, is to feel so big and so small at the same time.
Thank you.
I wanted to see, I'd be interested to see how you tie those things together. I think you've started to do that in a lot of ways. There were some points where it was like, ooh, I want to see more of that. Like when you were, I think you described the big so beautifully, and you also have these really intimate snapshots of like being a little kid standing in front of a mirror with the suit drooping off of you, pooling onto the floor. It's amazing. And I think I'd like to see yourself now, like putting yourself into the piece. I think in general that's a really empowering exercise to try, even if it isn't like a last draft thing. It's like, can you put yourself like claim your stake even in your own writing. Yeah.
First of all, a great poem. Just you're an incredible writer, and I'm really privileged to, be around to bask in the power that comes through your hands and through your brain and your heart. Also, while I'm not a non-binary person, the acceptance that you found for yourself really just like hit me in the heart and puts me in a place to want to stand more firmly in who I am as a person. Like my existence as an act of defiance is something that I would love to wear on a shirt.
T-shirt idea.
T-shirt idea, just because I'm always thinking about merch.
Yes. Thank you.
But I will say, while KFG focused a lot on like the imagery part of it, I am a person who writes a little different. I really like rhyme and alliteration and refrain. So I appreciate the pops of alliteration that you had in there. I did want to just make one suggestion. At the beginning of the poem, you said head held high, shoulders back, nothing to fear. And then you went into the next stanza and you said head held high, shoulders back, but you didn't give me the nothing to fear, and I kind of wanted it. I love refrain, and I like as a person who grew up in a religious space, and I know that you did too, something that you would catch in a hymn or, in a choir is that repetition. Yeah. And that's something that I really, really, really liked to see that it came, and I just wanted that line to remain. But great poem, great piece.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think something that I've learned about giving feedback is like basically just pointing out these are the things that I noticed, and sometimes it's like things that the poet maybe didn't notice themselves, and it's just like, okay, now that it's been pointed out, let's do it on purpose. Let's do it to 100 versus like, oh, we kind of accidentally, or like it just got hinted at.
I will say this poem makes me very emotional. We need this type of dialogue. I need to understand this experience because it's not my experience. It's an experience of people that I love and that I care about. And the way that you spoke about your what being trans means or being non-binary means to you, it's like we need more of that all the time. And that's the thing that'll shift us into a space of being able to love you better and love you harder.
Thank you. Thank you guys for that great feedback. I'm wondering for this piece if there's anything like I need to trim or expand on. Is there anything like specific that I should look at?
Yeah, I actually wrote down a couple of things. I love any opportunities to make things more concise. I think repetition is great, but it also needs to be intentional. So there are some points where I feel like, oh, maybe you're saying the same thing or it's something implied. So even at the beginning saying trans euphoria to me, I think as a reader, we already understand that you're speaking on behalf of yourself. So it might not necessarily be necessary. I understand wanting that. I love throwing in a me in order to have a little bit of slant rhyme somewhere else, but if it's not necessary, then I don't think it needs to be there.
Okay, thank you. Because I struggle with writing long, so sometimes knowing where to trim unnecessary is helpful for me, so thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I do know that sometimes trimming for someone to read is a lot different than when you're like intending to perform. So, like, you know what I'm saying? When you're saying trans euphoria to me, like when you're on stage, it just gives you a little something to like point at. So it's like, while it isn't necessary, it is something that you can keep in your head and like use when you're performing.
And that's why keeping different drafts of your poems are really important, because it just getting rid of a draft entirely because you made some changes, you might end up using some of those things in a stage performance or some other opportunity.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, great. I feel like I have some good notes here of what to do for this next draft and expand on those images and have more of that refrain. And yeah, this was really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.